The Ticker Designer lets you create any type of ticker for your screens. Tickers are a combination of graphics and news feeds that appear on top of any scheduled content. By default, tickers cover a 200-pixel area across the bottom of the screen. However, you can modify these settings so the ticker can have any shape or appear anywhere on screen. Tickers differ from content and templates in the following way. Tickers aren't scheduled. They're published or assigned to specific playlists, and whenever content is scheduled, they appear in front of the content. You can temporarily disable a ticker by checking off a box in the content or template properties. The ticker will reappear after these items have played. Tickers are created and stored in one of two folders. One is called Published, and the other Not Published. You access these folders by clicking on the Content Manager's Ticker tab. Tickers stored in the Published folder will be displayed after you publish to your players. Tickers stored in the Not Published folders are saved for later use. Tickers can be cut and pasted between folders. They can also be duplicated like any other item. To create a ticker, select one of the folders under the ticker. Next, right-click on the Content Manager window and select Add Ticker. The Ticker Designer will open with a transparent background. Let's start by naming our ticker. Click in the Name field and enter a descriptive name. It's a good idea to do this first because you can't save a ticker until it's been named. Next, we move to the screen configuration. By default, you start with a landscape ticker 1920 pixels wide by 200 pixels, located across the bottom of the screen. If this is different than your screen settings, simply edit the width and height values. For a full HD portrait screen, you would enter 1080 pixels in the width field, but for this example, we'll stick with a landscape layout. If you leave the ticker height at its default value of 200 pixels, it will appear across the bottom of the screen. Should you want to locate the ticker at the top or elsewhere on the screen, simply change its height to match the screen height. For a full HD landscape screen, you would enter 1080. When you do this, the ticker area covers the entire screen so you can position graphics, text, and data anywhere. Next, we'll look at the timing options. There are two options, manual and automatic. Every new ticker starts in manual mode with a duration of 7 seconds. If you only plan to add static content to the ticker, you can adjust the manual duration as needed. The manual option will be used until you add content that has a duration, like an RSS, XML, or social media feed. When these elements are added to the ticker, the timing option switches to automatic and the duration increases so all the data can be shown. However, you can still switch back to manual mode and enter the duration of your choice. If you enter 1 minute, the data will loop for the entire time. In most cases, you shouldn't have to change to a manual duration because all the data will be shown and repeat whenever the ticker is visible on screen. You can adjust the Ticker Designer view by using the zoom slider next to the duration settings. Tickers can contain many elements. Let's go over each one. At the top of the window, you'll notice 6 items. They are the text box, the geographic shape, the current date field, the current time field, the current content field, the coming next field. Click the text box icon to add it to your ticker. The text box will always appear in the middle. The default text color is gray and the font will be Arial. You can drag and resize the text box using your mouse or by changing its X, Y coordinates and its height and width values. Just type in the number of pixels in the appropriate field. Note this method can be used with any ticker element, and whenever you click on something, always pay attention to the left side tabs. Different tabs will open to show you the options and settings that apply to the currently selected item. To edit the text, delete the default message in the left field or double-click in the text box to edit the text in place. When the edit function is active, the border will change to red and a small button will appear in the upper right corner. You can also change the font, text alignment, font size, and color. Basically, all typographic functions are regrouped together. When you're finished, click the Edit button again to confirm your changes. Next, we'll add a geometric shape to our ticker. Click the New Shape button. The shape appears in the middle of the ticker. By default, the shape will be a rectangle with no visible border. The shape's fill will be white with a transparency value of 50%. While the shape is selected, you can access its properties under the Shape tab on the left. Available shapes are rectangle or ellipse. You can assign a border color, border line thickness, and apply a corner angle to round the corners. By default, shapes are assigned a solid fill. You can also set the fill to gradient. The first color menu sets the solid fill. The second one sets the secondary color for gradients. You can also set a transparency value for any color by moving the slider. Let's resize this rectangle and position it across the middle of our ticker. Now, let's send the shape behind the text. You can move layers back and forth by right-clicking on the item and then selecting their new order. You can lock any layer. While locked, you can only move elements by changing their X and Y coordinates or resize them by changing their height and width values. Elements can also be duplicated by copying and pasting them. Note that when duplicating a locked element, the duplicate will also be locked. To delete an element, select Remove from the menu. Our ticker is starting to take shape now. Let's add more elements. Click the Date icon to add a date field. Set the text size, color, and alignment. You can also change the date and time settings depending on your local needs. Next, click the Time icon to add a time field. Notice the text size, color, and alignment match the previous settings. QL remembers the settings of the last text or data field you selected. Drag the time field under the date field and then enter coordinates to align them perfectly. Our ticker is almost complete, but before we continue, let's talk about the current content and coming next fields. These fields let you display the name of the content currently playing or the upcoming content whenever the ticker is shown on screen. Think of music video TV channels where the name of the current video and upcoming one are shown in a corner of the screen. These two fields let you display similar information inside your tickers. To show this information, simply click on their respective buttons and configure the text as needed. Then, position each field where you want the text displayed. Let's look at some of the other elements that we can add to our ticker. On the right side, we find more tabs. Top layer images are meant to be shown on top of all other ticker elements. You can import JPEGs or PNG files, and transparency is supported. These images must be imported into the ticker designer, just like background images. They aren't retrieved from the content library. However, images that were previously added using the template designer will appear in the list. You can use a top layer image to add a company logo or graphics with transparent areas to dress up your layout. Let's start by adding a PNG file to our list. Click the Top Layers tab. Right-click on the list and select New. Select the image to upload, and then click Upload to continue. Once the image has been added to the list, drag and drop it in your ticker. You can resize the image and it will retain its proportions. Move it into its final location and then right-click it to select Lock. This will prevent someone from moving the image by mistake. Remember that top layer images must be uploaded and managed in the ticker designer. These images will appear in the list, and you can use the search field to find what you're looking for. Tickers are great for displaying live data. Navori QL supports RSS and media RSS feeds, XML data, social media feeds from Facebook and Twitter, as well as Google Calendar and Microsoft Exchange Calendar data. To add a previously configured data feed to your ticker, proceed as follows. Click the Data Feed Manager tab. Click the pull-down menu to see the list of available feeds. Click the feed to select it. A list of available fields appears below. Drag and drop each field directly into your ticker. Adjust the font size, color, and other typographic features until you get the effect you want. Be sure to save your work before you close the ticker designer. Click the Save button to confirm your changes. This concludes our video on the ticker designer. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.